Assassinations happened on Saturday in Minneapolis when the MAGA terrorist killed these 2 state legislators and nearly murdered 2 more. And apparently stopped at 2 other houses looking for people. Was unsuccessful. Mike Lee went onto Twitter and posted, "This is what happens when Marxists don't get their way," to a picture, the Ring doorbell cam picture of the MAGA terrorist. And then a little later, an hour later, he posted another picture of Bolter and with the text, "Nightmare on Wall Street," referencing Tim Walz. And that racked up 13 million views. I mean, the Twitter algorithm really amplified Mike Lee. And then, and this is where it gets wild, Elon Musk jumped in and posted essentially the same thing, saying the far left is murderously violent, suggesting that the guy, the MAGA assassin, the MAGA murderer, the MAGA terrorist, was in fact a leftist. Now, why was it that in the first hours after, and for several hours actually, after the news came out about these murders, that Senator Lee and Elon Musk, and by the way, Musk's got almost 4 times more views than Lee, and nobody's criticizing Musk for this. I don't know. I don't understand why, and maybe they're just afraid of him. But why was it that Mike Lee and Elon Musk and hundreds of other right wingers all over Twitter? I mean, this is just, it was just slammed. Were claiming that this guy, that the MAGA terrorist, was a leftist. It turns out the reason why is because the Minneapolis State Patrol, the state police, published a photo from the back of this guy's car of a pile of posters that he had made, excuse me, that said "No Kings." Now, nobody knows for sure why he was carrying these things. Maybe he intended to leave them behind after he killed people. Maybe he was going to go to the protest and try to kill people there. Nobody knows for sure, but clearly this guy, we now know, was a MAGA terrorist. He voted for Trump. He was enthusiastic about Trump. He was a fundamentalist Christian. He was anti-abortion. That seems to have been his primary motivation in murdering these people. But when the state police published that picture with the "No Kings," they gave no explanation. They didn't say this guy, there was no explanation. And so people looked at that and thought, oh, a "No Kings" guy just murdered these people. Must be a leftist. That was what was obviously going through Mike Lee's mind and probably going through Elon Musk's mind, although anybody trying to guess what's going through Elon Musk's mind at any particular moment is probably in trouble. But if law enforcement had provided any context for the picture, then this would not have happened. We wouldn't have had these insane conspiracy theories, and Mike Lee and Elon Musk would not have basically crapped all over themselves. Would not have covered themselves in shame, shall we say? And of course, Mike Lee is now suffering some serious blowback from this, from members of the Senate, Senate staffers even. I mean, it's just a terrible look. But why did the police do this? They had to know. I mean, this was the press office, right? They understand public relations. They had to know that the minute they published that "No Kings" picture, people were going to draw that assumption from it, that conclusion. They did not have to publish those pictures, that picture. And if they felt like they had to publish that picture, they could have provided a context like, for example, we don't know yet who this guy is, but perhaps he was planning on going to a "No Kings" rally to kill people. I mean, if they simply said something like that, which is the most probable explanation, still, they're still playing this close to the vest. But if they had provided some sort of context like that, you wouldn't have had Mike Lee and Elon Musk and all these other, right-wing figures, making themselves look like fools. Now, maybe the Minnesota State Police are a bunch of liberals, and they expected Mike Lee and Elon Musk to make fools of themselves. My guess is that's not the case. My guess, police tend to lean toward the right. My guess is that the police were basically, figuring, well, I just don't know. They should have been able to predict, though, that publishing this picture without any explanation, without any context, without any description, would provoke this kind of response. And then on top of that, of course, now that Twitter is owned by Musk, and he has tweaked the algorithm to promote, apparently, to promote, racist tweets and Nazi tweets and, Nazi tweeters, things like that, and himself, of course. I think it would have been fairly easy to predict that this would happen.